Welcome back to Riffs and Wrestling, the only place where you'll find pro wrestling and heavy metal all in one place. That's right, I am one of your hosts, Willie, and our other host, Nick, is on the other line. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, back at it again.
Yes,
Before
sir.
we get started, just want to plug our X and our Instagram account. Follow us there at Riffs and Wrestling. Also, subscribe to YouTube if you're watching it there. Also, if you're watching this on Spotify, please follow us there as well. And don't forget to share, like, and all the good stuff. That'll be great. Appreciate it. Without further ado, Nick, what are we doing today?
Today, brother, we're going to do something fun, man. We've been doing some top fives on this show for some of the topics that we've been doing. And our most recent wrestling episode, we did our top five favorite WCW and WWF/E theme music. And today, we're going to do our top five favorite factions in wrestling of all time. So this should be an interesting one.
Ooh. Yeah, that sounds fun, man. I preparing for this one, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different and find some not like stuff you don't know about, but just maybe stuff you forgot about. So I'm really curious to see what's on your list.
Yeah, same for you, dude. How long did you prepare for this episode?
We thought about this about over a week ago, and pretty much every day in between preparing for other shows, I kind of was like, what's one faction that I can explore today? So probably about a week's worth.
And these are like your favorite factions too, right? It's not just you were picking random stuff.
Nope, these aren't necessarily my favorites. They are factions that I thought were interesting. I think two of them are you can consider my favorites, and the others were like, I think that's pretty cool, and I kind of want to mention it, type of things.
Gotcha.
And then I guess at the end of the episode, if none of us say like our favorites, we can kind of say our favorites there. But I kind of wanted to pick something a little bit different, and hopefully the audience will enjoy that because I feel like maybe picking the obvious choices would kind of make it a little bit dull. So I kind of wanted to be more entertaining and maybe shock a few people watching.
Gotcha. And just so we're clear, if you have watched some of these episodes in the past, or if you know me personally, you know that my favorite group of all time in wrestling was the NWO, Hogan, Hall, and Nash, as you can see with the shirt,
Yeah,
Outsiders.
right.
Hall and Nash. I promise you, I will not be picking the NWO as one of my favorite factions. I wanted to mix it up a little bit differently too. I got some old school. I got some new-ish factions in my list, and I'm going off of some of my favorites and then some of the more influential factions
Hmm,
in wrestling history. So it
cool.
should be interesting to see how our list compiles here.
Yeah, man. I don't think I will probably guess half of yours, and you probably will not guess half of mine.
Well, the way you're making it sound, I won't even know what the hell your factions are. So, and I like it that way. I
I
don't want to
know.
know. I don't want to know.
No. Nope. Well, you want to get right into it?
Let's do it, dude. You want me to start off?
Yeah, you start off. What you got?
Okay, so for my number five wrestling faction, I have none other than the Dangerous Alliance,
Oh,
which was made up of guys like Rick Rude, Bobby Eaton, Arn Anderson, Larry Zbyszko, Medusa, and a future Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was known as Stunning Steve Austin. And they were led by Paul E. Dangerously, and wrestling fans today would know him as Paul Heyman. Now, what's interesting about this group is they didn't just start out in WCW. They were actually in other promotions before they got into WCW, and it was all by the brainchild of Paulie Dangerously / Paul Heyman. And I really want to just focus on their WCW run because, other than incompetent booking at the time with some of the head bookers they had in charge in WCW at the time, they really fumbled the ball with this group long term. They really
hmm.
could have done something special with this group, but they wreaked havoc in WCW from late 91 into 92, and they had notable feuds with Sting, um, and some others as well. But I mean, with that list of guys in this faction led by Paul E. Dangerously, and what they were able to do in such a short amount of time in WCW, and that they're still talked about today and they're still remembered today, shows you just how much of an impact they really had on professional wrestling.
Mm.
Um, Bobby Eaton, who was like everybody's favorite. Nobody ever had a bad word to say about Bobby Eaton, and he was like the perennial good guy. And for him to go and join up with a group like the Dangerous Alliance at the time was like a shocker.
Yeah.
Nobody expected to see that. Um, but very, very influential group early on, and especially in WCW, because WCW really at the time didn't have much going on. But at the time that
Yeah.
this group was formed, this was kind of like their down time before Bischoff really fully took over in about 93, 94. So it was a very influential group. If they had better bookers at the time, they could have done a lot more with this group. But number 5 is going to be the Dangerous Alliance, led by Paul E. Dangerously.
I love that. Is it this kind of where Austin got his start?
Yeah, you can say this is pretty much what put Austin on the map early on. They had legendary feuds with like Sting, Ricky Steamboat was one of them. God, who else did they have fused with? Barry Windham, Dusty
Mm.
Rhodes, and it all led up to like a War Games match too in '92, I believe it was, where they had the double
Yeah.
cage, double ring. But yeah, this is pretty much what puts Stone Cold on the map, and after this group, I believe, is when he did his run with Brian Pillman as a Hollywood Blondes, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
that's right. Damn, this was early on.
Yep. This was 1991 into 92, and again, like I said, they were, for the time and what they were doing, they were pretty damn vicious, pretty damn ruthless in being a heel group,
Yeah.
and they were. This was back in the time too when kayfabe was still a thing,
Right.
and where you wanted the audience to perceive everything that was going on was legit 100%. So the things that they would do, especially the guys like Sting, Wyndham, and Steamboat, was like they people wanted to kill them. That's
Yeah.
how serious this shit was, and it just goes to show you just how good all the guys were in this group, led by Paul Heyman, that they
Right.
were able to take something from a company that wasn't doing shit at the time and to be a fucking massively talented hill group that really started people started paying attention more to WCW at that time because of them.
Yeah, and this is right around when this group ended in WCW. This is pretty much around the same time Paul Heyman went to create ECW, right?
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
Eastern Championship Wrestling. Can't remember the guy's name who ran it before Heyman took it over. But yeah, right after this, pretty much is when Paul made his exit and then jumped over. And I think he became ECW as we know it in either late 93 or early 94 when Shane Douglas won the Eastern Championship title, the NWA title, threw it on the
Mm,
ground and said, fuck this. This is, Extreme Championship Wrestling. So yeah,
right. Damn, dude. Strong pick. That's your number 5?
yeah, that was my number 5.
Holy
Yep.
shit. That was a strong number 5.
See, this could have been anywhere on my list, and the reason why I have it at 5 is because once again, and there's been another group on my list here shortly that um, could have been a lot more too if it wasn't for shit booking. And it always
Yeah.
seems to be the bookers that fucking kill good ideas, dude. Like they don't know what to
Right.
do with it when they have it.
Right. Nope. That's why you probably should leave it up to the actual people doing it. They probably know what to do best. Some.
Yeah,
Some.
I want to say if you're going to have a wrestler be your booker, this person should be retired from the ring because if you're still
Mm,
active, and we've seen it happen in the past with guys like Flair and Kevin Nash, especially in WCW, when you're an active wrestler and you're head of the book, you're going to book yourself to go over, and that
yeah.
never works out.
No, 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 no. That's not a good idea for nobody.
Exactly. But again, it just goes to show you just how smart and way ahead of his time Paul Heyman was, especially
Yeah.
back then. And again, this group didn't just run I mean, this core group here ran in WCW, but different variations of the Dangerous Alliance had run in ECW, I think Continental Wrestling, I think it was too.
Yeah.
Maybe even AWA of some sort. But yeah, it wasn't just WCW, but this core group that I'm focusing on was from the WCW time.
Yeah, man. Looking back on it, yeah. AWA from 87 to 88.
That's what I figured. Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Heyman, man. He's a smart one.
Yes, he is. Still is too.
So yeah, Dangerous Alliance, my number 5.
Love it, dude. Good fucking pick. Great pick.
Thank you.
Oh, well, my number five. So this one is they didn't do anything special, but it surprised me of who they were
Okay.
now, right? So my number five is Black Lotus Triad from Lucha Underground.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
So for those of you that don't know, I didn't know until I looked this up. There was four members of this group, and they were all women, and two of the members is actually Io Sky and Kari Sane from what you now know them as. I did not know that they were in Lucha Underground.
I think this was the time too when Io Sky had her feud going on in Lucha Underground with Pentagon Jr.
Yep.
Those
Yep.
two beat the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, they had the when because Pentagon Dark at the
Dark, yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, broke the arm of Black Lotus, and then it kind of was like a gauntlet match. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
came in and faced them, and yeah, they fucking whooped their ass, dude.
Yep, they had a singles match on one of the episodes. Her and Pentagon did, and like Pentagon was literally like throwing her ass around as if she was
Yeah.
nothing, beating the hell out of her. She's hitting them with chairs and shit, and it's like, god damn.
Dude, that show was amazing to watch. That was a fun ass fucking show to watch.
It was, but it got to a point for me with Lucha Underground that it became too over the top. That I
Cinematic.
was like, yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. But like at first
Yeah.
it was cool, but then it kind of became a little too outlandish for me. But
Right.
it had its moments.
Yeah, I think that was the whole theme of it was just over the
Yeah,
top cinematic, and you knew it wasn't going to last very long, but
right.
when it did, I thought it was enjoyable to watch. But yeah, I was surprised because looking back on it now, I'm like, dude, that's fucking them. I had no idea that they were there.
Who was all in? It was Kari, Io, and who else?
I Oh man, it was Mayu. I can't even pronounce her name, but she is a star in Japan still.
Has she gone by any other name?
Just Yuri in Underground.
Huh. Okay.
But yeah,
Interesting. That's an interesting pick.
yeah, I thought it was pretty damn cool because I'm like, wait, is that the same person that
Mm-hmm.
are talking? That's like now, and it
Yep.
is like what?
And they came up on Lucha Underground too when I stopped watching the show is when they started coming out. So I didn't see too much of their stuff. I saw
Mm,
clips afterwards,
yeah,
but yeah, that was pretty much the start of Io Sky's like career in the United States fans' eyes. Because obviously she was a star in
right.
Japan, but it wasn't until Lucha Underground where she came over here that people in America started to see who she was, and same with Kari Sane too.
Yep, I think that was a damn good platform for them because I don't think without them coming over here and doing what they did, they probably wouldn't have very many eyes on them for
Right.
they probably wouldn't be where they are now.
I agree with you.
So
That's a good, interesting pick. Just because of, like you said, two of the members and who they are and where they're at now, you would
yeah,
never expect from them back then.
no, Lucha Underground, crazy. But yeah, that was my number five.
I like that. Good pick. So my number 5 is Dangerous Alliance. Your number 5 is the Black Lotus Triad, right? That's what they call themselves.
Yep,
Cool.
yep,
My number 4 is a group that had a lot of potential, but just like I talked about with the Dangerous Alliance and WCW, they had shit booking,
mm,
shit bookers, and it didn't live up to the potential that it could have lived up to. So my number 4 is from TNA Wrestling, and that would be
oh,
the Main Event Mafia.
you motherfucker. That was my number four too, so we can talk about it together.
Hell yeah. Well, that works. So we can talk about it together, exactly as you
Yep.
said. Formed in October of 2008 with Kurt Angle, Sting, Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, and Booker T with Charmel. A lot of potential, a lot of upside they could have
Yep.
done. You had a heel faction, which obviously Steiner, Angle, and Nash kind of like can fit into that heel persona. but
Right.
having Booker and Sting as heels is kind of like, ooh,
I know. Yeah.
like this is a little different. You know what I mean?
It was.
And they went on to like wreak havoc within TNA. And you know what's funny, by the way? Did you know that when they started, it was at our show that we went to, the first TNA live show,
It
and it was the
was.
first TNA show as well from the Hard
Damn.
Rock here in Vegas. And that was the night that they formed the fucking Main Event Mafia. How cool is that?
That's badass. I didn't even realize that's when they formed.
Yep.
And looking back on it, 2008. Yep,
Yep.
that was it.
That
Holy
was our
shit.
show. The wife and I recently went back and we watched all of TNA up until Sting's departure in 2013.
Oh,
And we went
nice.
back and watched TNA from the very beginning from 2002 all
Damn.
the way up to 2013. Dude, TNA was so fucking good, dude. They were
It was
so
good.
fucking good, man.
Very, very good.
And it wasn't until fucking Dixie Carter came in and just slowly fucking killed fucking anything that was TNA. And then,
Yep,
you know, I don't want to talk ill of the dead, but fucking when Hogan came in, dude, he just pretty much put the fucking nail in the coffin for
he did.
TNA, you know, with getting rid of the six-sided ring, bringing in the
Yep.
four-sided, bringing in all of his friends and buddies and shit. It just wasn't the same TNA.
No.
But prior to Hogan and all that coming in, you had the Main Event Mafia, and they were all made up of former world champions. They wreaked havoc on TNA because they were sick of Dixie Carter's shit in
Yep.
storyline and probably in real life. But again, it was just bad booking that got in the way of what could have possibly been what the Main Event Mafia could have done.
Yeah, I think this was a different side of Angle that we've seen too.
Yeah,
And it was cool to see him as like a different role completely. And it was unfortunate it's only lasted a year.
I know.
Just 1 year. Like you had all these top names and it only lasts 1 year.
Yeah.
Like what the something bad went fucking wrong then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was horrible booking, and they did reprise the Main Event Mafia in 2013, but we're not going to talk
Yeah.
about that. That was like way
No.
too short lived, and it kind of felt rushed. Kind of like
Yeah.
when Russo redid the NWO and WCW in 2000. It was like it's just not the same, you know.
No, 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 no.
Um, but yeah, I mean, they had the legendary feud with the TNA frontline with guys like Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and the like. They could have really done a lot with it, man. They could have really like strung it out for multiple
Mm-hmm.
years. You know, this could have
Yep.
been TNA's equivalent of the NWO, but
Yes.
they shit the bed with it.
Yep. Yep. Those matches with Angle and Joe in TNA.
Oh my god.
Oh man. If none
Yes.
of you have ever seen that, you need to, because that was like prime wrestling.
Yes.
Prime
Absolutely.
wrestling. It was amazing. Hold for hold, slam for slam, storytelling too in the ring.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
it's hard to even get like that anymore. I feel like now we've seen it kind of all, and it takes a very special person to do that. And those two had chemistry. They really
Agreed.
did.
Agreed. And matches with like Sting and Styles too. You had Booker T as the new Legends champion. He fucking made himself the first champion because why not? I'm a heel. You know, I can do
Yep.
whatever I want.
Yep.
But dude, it was so cool too because they would come out in suits, they would come out in sunglasses, you know, very
Yeah.
corporate looking, but still
Yeah.
very like mafia looking, you know, hence the name.
Right.
But it was such a great idea, dude, and they could have done a lot with it, and they broke it up way too quick. And I think turning
Mm-hmm.
Sting babyface later on and having him feud with Angle was
Yeah.
genius in theory, but it went way too fast. You know,
Yes.
it could have been built up in a longer run, kind of like how they did the whole Nash versus Hogan thing in the NWO. They
Yep.
built it up for a couple of years and they had their blow off. This didn't even last 8 months before they were at each other's throats. You know what I
No.
mean?
No. Yeah, seeing Sting with, no makeup and just dressed in black like that, you're like, damn, this is pretty cool, man.
Yep.
This is
Being
fucking
all
sick.
serious and shit.
Yeah, it was different. It's so different. And fuck, man, 1 year. That's it.
The
That's all
only
we
thing
got.
I will say though is that their fucking TNA theme music sucked.
Fuck, how'd it go? I don't
It
even
was fucking
remember.
terrible. It started out with like some bullshit like piano sounding shit, and then it went into like
Oh
down, down,
yeah.
down, 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 down. Like, what the fuck is this? Like some generic ass bullshit they pull out of a video game.
That's so funny, dude.
But yeah, man, they could have done a lot more with the Main Event Mafia, dude.
They
Like they
could.
honestly could.
I think it's hilarious that's both of our fucking number fours.
It's a good spot for them to be too. You
It
know,
is.
they could have been
It
higher
is.
if they would have lasted a little longer, but
I know, man.
it
Good
is what
pick
it
though.
is.
That was cool. That was cool.
Hell yeah. So my pick was four, and that was your pick. So how about
Yeah.
you give us your third, since my four was the Main Event Mafia originally?
All right. Well, I'm gonna say my third is going to be the Dudley Boys with Spike.
Okay.
So that is my faction. I know the Dudley Boys is a tag team, but with Spike, it's a faction.
Mm-hmm.
Fuckers. So yeah, dude, why does Spike take so much bullshit? He got dropped on his head every fucking night.
Dude, that dude was a fucking ragdoll.
Every night. How? And he's still alive.
Yeah.
How is that guy still alive, bro?
You know, he was a fucking school teacher too.
That's right.
Yep. I think it was like high school math or some shit. Like this
When
dude's getting his ass like fucking handed to him. He's getting launched in like the third row of the fucking arena every night, dude. But this dude was a fucking school
oh
teacher.
man, dude, remember that moment with Spike? I don't know. I forget who went to power bomb him out of the ring, but they meant to power bomb him out of the ring onto a table, but they didn't get Spike high enough, and Spike
Mm-hmm.
landed on his head on the ground and missed the fucking table completely.
I think I know the spot you're talking about, and that might have been Rhino who did that, if I'm not
Was
mistaken.
it?
So when you're talking about the Dudleys and Spike, are you talking about their time in the WWF?
I'm talking about it as a whole, but there was a couple moments from ECW and WWF that
Okay.
I recall, I guess.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. 'Cause I wanted to clarify that for the audience because they were in both. And
Yeah.
as in ECW too, there was a shit ton of Dudleys. There wasn't just fucking
Oh,
Bubba
I
Ray and
know.
Devon. There was a fuck
Yeah, it was
ton
a
of them.
whole fucking family, bro.
Yeah, it was a whole clan. They're all fucking retarded. Big Dick Dudley, Sign Guy Dudley, like goddamn.
Yeah, no, there was a fuck ton, and I can't even keep up with that shit. But yeah, I just really want to talk about Spike, really, and just how much shit he fucking took, unfortunately.
The dude could work in the ring too. He could work his ass off when he
Yeah,
wanted to.
bro.
You know what I mean? But fucking the whole Dudley death drop too, where he would run up the fucking turnbuckles and come down with like a cutter type shit.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, dude, fucking the Dudleys with Spike, they definitely had some moments that were like, just dude, stop, bro, just
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, and even like the chair shots that Spike would take from like
Yep,
Lita, right?
yep,
It's like folded the chair in half on that poor guy.
yep,
That
dude.
fucking poor guy.
He was a son of a bitch. What a trooper for taking it all, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Maybe the money was good, or maybe he just like to get fucking fucked up. I don't know, but
I think it was the case of he knew he was the smallest guy in the room at all times. So what can he do to stand out? And I guess
yeah.
getting your ass tossed around would make you stand out for sure. And it would be a fun guy to work too. Like if you were a fucking 6'5", 280-pound wrestler, and you get to
Mm-hmm.
work a guy like Spike Dudley and just fucking toss the dude around, like how much
Right.
fun is that for you?
Yep. Yep. Did you know? Quick fact that the first time that the Lee Boys did their 3D was on Spike.
Was this in ECW?
It was. It was.
That makes sense.
And Spike kind of spiked on his head, but Bubba was so big that he kind of took all of it. So
That's right.
if Bubba wasn't as big as he was at that time, I think Spike would have got seriously injured from that
You know,
move.
speaking of Bubba, real quick, if you go and look at him in ECW and how fucking huge that boy was, and then when
Yeah.
he got to fucking WWF, he slimmed down quite a bit. But if you look at him
Mm-hmm.
from his heel run in TNA during Aces and Eights, that
Bully
dude
Ray.
was fucking chiseled, man.
Dude, he got cut.
He
He got
did,
cut.
dude. He worked
All
himself
through.
fucking being like, I think he said at one time too that he was close to 400 pounds.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
But holy fuck, dude.
Man, that's a heavy boy. He's not that tall either.
He's
That's a
like
lot
what,
of weight.
6'1"?
Some shit like that. Yeah.
If that, yeah, 6'2" maybe.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking the Dudley Boys were fun. That just like gives me an idea that maybe somewhere down the line we should do a top 5 favorite tag teams in wrestling.
We have to. We
That'd
have
be a
to.
tough list though to narrow it down to 5, but
Yeah.
that would be a fun show to do too.
It would be. Yeah, I
There's a
mean,
lot of good tag teams out there. Tag team wrestling just isn't what it used to be, man. It's a shame.
no, it's not. It's not at all. But yeah, but that was my number. Was that 3?
3, yep.
Number 3. Yep.
With Dudley
Dudley
Boys
Boys
with
with Spike.
I like it. I like it. All right. Moving along here to my number 3 pick. There was a few incarnations of this group as well. And trust me, this was not my idea to do incarnations. It just happened to fall that way. But I'm going to go with the 1997 version of this group. And I'm going to go to the WWF, and I'm going to go with the Hart Foundation.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm going with Brett, Owen, Davey Boy, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
I love
With
it.
Brian Pillman eventually as well.
Yeah.
That was such a fun fucking time in wrestling too, because you had the Hart Foundation would get cheered out of the building in Canada, but
Mm-hmm.
booed out the ass in
Yep.
America. And that's when they had the fucking feud with Brett and Shawn
Yep.
going on. They had the feud with Triple H and DX. Fucking, they were uh, so fun to hate, but they could work their asses off in the ring as well, so you couldn't take that away
Yes.
from them, and that made you hate them more because it's like, you're so fucking good, but I fucking hate you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think we've seen a heel Brett until now, until this, right?
Yeah, yeah, because you would have Brett and Stone Cold in, was it Survivor Series, where they did the double turn, because Brett went in the baby face, Stone Cold went in the
Mm-hmm.
hill, but when the match was going on, Brett was actually being booed and Stone Cold was
Yeah.
being cheered, so they had to do it on the fly and do a
Yeah.
double turn in that match where Brett left the heel and Stone Cold left the baby face. But yeah, we had never really seen Brett as a heel prior to that, and he was so fucking good at it.
He was. He was. I think it was more natural for him than being a face.
Well, you know what it was, is his genuine dislike for Shawn Michaels.
Yes,
That had a
very much
lot
so.
to do with it, because he really detested fucking Shawn at that
Yep.
time. And
Yep.
did you know, by the way, in a promo on Raw, it was Brett who called Shawn a degenerate, and that's where the
Mm,
term Degeneration X came to be.
amazing. I did
So
not
if it
know
wasn't
that.
for Brett saying that on Raw, there probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
been a group called Degeneration X. But that's fucking amazing. You know
That's
what I mean?
great. That's great. Yeah,
But yeah,
I remember their promos, and a lot of it would not have even been close to said on TV now.
oh
Like
yeah.
they said some really outlandish things back then that
hmm
I don't even know how they got away with it.
Well, what was awesome is you would have the guys in the Hart Foundation cut promos about how much America sucks and how
Mhm.
much better Canada is. And Sean didn't even really defend fucking America. He was just like, "Yeah,
No.
fuck you. I don't like you." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was no defense of the U.S. side, so that was kind of
No.
refreshing too, because we've seen it before. Like, especially in WWF, we had the gimmicks of like the Iron Sheik, Sergeant
Yep.
Slaughter, who was a turncoat and went for Iraq. You know what I mean? Over
Yep.
the U.S. We've seen all that shit before, so it was nice to see like the Hart Foundation talk shit about America, but there wasn't really anybody to stand up for America, because
Mhm.
that's not really what it was about. That was just
No,
more of a way to get heat on Brett and the Hart
exactly.
Foundation.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was a great choice for Sean and H to kind of be like the bad boys, right? To kind of be like, I don't care what you're talking shit about, like as long as you're not talking shit about me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
that's great, great
Yep.
fucking storytelling.
It was great storytelling, dude. And I mean, come on, when you have guys like Triple H, Sean, Brett, and Owen, you know what I mean? It's like you
Yep.
really can't go wrong with that. You know what I'm
No.
saying? But they were so legendary, dude, that they could have done a lot more with it if Brett didn't get screwed at Survivor Series with
Yes.
Vince. They could have done a lot more with it, but fucking Brett got a bigger offer from WCW. Vince couldn't match it, so Brett had to jump ship and go to WCW. He just didn't want to drop the title to Shawn in the match that he was supposed to. He was going to do it the very next night, but whatever. Everybody knows a Montreal screw job.
Yeah.
But this is another group that could have went further than what they did. But the little short time that we had with them was fucking excellent.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree with you more. And that was your number three.
Yes, sir.
I honestly thought that was going to be your top two.
Really?
I did. I
Okay.
did, especially when you are taking out NWO. Thought
Mm-hmm.
you were gonna put this up there little bit more, but middle of the fucking list, I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Absolutely.
pick.
You might be surprised at what number two and what's number one then.
I think I probably will be. Oh man,
Alrighty, sir. You're number two.
guess it's my turn, huh? Um, so I'm gonna go a little bit of the same era that you were just talking about. I'm gonna pick the Ministry of Darkness as my
Ooh.
number two.
Okay.
Um, this is probably my favorite, second favorite Taker, right? During this time, he was evil. He didn't care. He had all these members, joining his Ministry of Darkness. You had Taker, you had Paul Bear, you had Viscera, you had the Brood that came in, which that was Edge, Christian, Gangrel. Like, that's badass. And dude, and then the shit that they did with like Stone Cold,
Yep.
that probably shouldn't have been aired on TV either.
Yeah.
Like they like pushed the boundaries, and I think everyone had to at that time. And I don't know, this was very entertaining for me, and especially when I went back to watch it, for the third, fourth time, it was like, damn, it was still pretty fucking cool. It's
It
still
is.
cool.
Yep, it
But yeah,
really is cool. It's cool to see a different side of Taker too, a more
yeah,
sinister Undertaker. Because before he was always like shown as almost like cartoonish in a way, I guess you could say. He had the makeup on, he had the purple and black on, and yeah, Paul Bearer with like this light coming out of the urn type shit. So it was like really
yeah,
outlandish, really cartoonish. This was more like sinister, more satanic,
right,
more evil, more vile, and the
yep,
shit that he was doing, the shit that he was saying, like abducting Stephanie McMahon too, and
right,
fucking taking her hostage and shit. It was like
yeah.
a different side of Taker, which was cool to see. And by the way, did you know that one of the main contributors to that whole story arc was none other than Vince fucking Russo?
Was it really?
Yep, the same guy who gave us Viagra on a pole in fucking WCW. He gave us the fucking Ministry of Darkness. How about that?
I did not know that. It
Yep.
doesn't give me any points towards him, but that's pretty cool.
It was his idea, and then WWF ran with it afterwards. But dude, yeah, the Ministry of Darkness was fucking lit. And didn't they have their own theme song too, or did they just use Taker's theme?
I think they had like a voiceover with Taker's theme or something like
Okay,
that. I think that's what they did,
okay.
if I
I know the
remember
Brood
right.
didn't last very long in that group either.
No, I think, and they came in a little bit later too.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then Farouk and Brasha too.
dude, the APA, the Acolytes,
Yep,
they were fucking
yep,
amazing. They were
yep,
awesome. I liked them more when they were like when they had like the writing on their chest and shit. And then
yep.
once that group disbanded, they went on to be their own tag team, and they're like these beer drinking poker players or whatever, which was cool too.
Right.
But yeah, seeing them back then with like fucking like almost like in this cult was fucking
Yeah,
like lit, dude.
you took the words right out of my fucking mouth. A cult like feel to this faction. That's what it was.
I
That's what it
think
was.
the thing that stands out to me the most with the ministry was when they fucking crucified Austin on Raw, put him up
Yep.
on the fucking Taker's cross and lifted him up above the fucking crowd. Like that was fucking like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
But that's badass though.
On live television. What are we
Yes,
doing?
yes, absolutely, dude.
Oh
That's a great
man.
pick. I like that pick. That was your number two.
That was my number 2. Yes.
Damn. Knowing
Yes.
you, I'm really not surprised because of how much of a fan of Undertaker you are. So
Yeah.
I get where that's at number two. But yeah, that's a good pick, dude. I was actually thinking about the Ministry of Darkness a little bit today too, but I was like, you know what? They don't really stand out to me in my mind as
Right.
much as some of the other ones, but they
Yeah.
were going to be on my honorable mention list for
For
sure.
sure. Yep. Yep.
Good
I
pick.
dug it.
Hell yeah. All right, my number two. Before we get to my number two, just once again, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you wouldn't mind, we have an X account, we have an Instagram account, Riffs and Wrestling. You can't miss it. We have right here on YouTube. We're on Spotify. If you wouldn't mind, please like, comment, share, all of that to everybody that you know. Let's get a groundswell going. Let's tell all of our friends and family about this show. If you like what you're hearing, if you're entertained, great. Please like and subscribe and comment. What's your favorite, tag teams? What's your favorite factions? What's your favorite theme song? If you have any ideas for us to cover in the future, drop them in the comments. Let us know so we can possibly do a show on it in the future. And this isn't just a wrestling podcast as well. We talk about heavy metal and hard rock and all things in between. So yeah, give us a like and a follow. We much appreciate that. Now my number two is kind of obvious in a way,
Okay.
but they're a number two because of how influential they were
Okay.
and how they really took the company that they were in was kind of they were on their ass, and then this group was formed and it kind of like gave a shot of adrenaline back into the company's ass and kind of like woke the company back up, and the company started like doing shit again
Yeah.
to be competitive. So my number two is going to be none other than D-Generation X.
Okay.
Talking
Okay.
DX. Formed in 1997, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and then later on they had Rick Rude as their manager, and then China came in as well. They were the WWF's answer to WCW's NWO. And if
Yes.
we didn't have an NWO, we probably wouldn't have had a D-Generation X, or at least a D-Generation X that they gave us.
Right.
And the reason why I am putting them on my list so high at number two is because they really did give the WWF at the time the shot that they needed, because they were getting absolutely fucked by WCW and the NWO at this time. WCW was kicking their ass. They had 83 weeks straight of losing in the fucking ratings to Monday Nitro. So they had to do something, and this was their answer to WCW and the NWO. And they were different from the NWO because WWF, being on the USA Network, had far less limitations at the time than WCW did on TNT on Turner. Turner had way too many rules and restrictions. Not Turner himself, but the people that ran the company. Way too many rules they had to follow. They were more PG, maybe PG-13, whereas WWF at the time, with Raw's War, they had a whole Attitude Era was just starting to come in. They were more PG-13 slash possibly a TVMA before there was a TVMA.
Hmm.
But my favorite incarnation of DX was when Sean, I hate to say when Sean got injured because that sucks, but
Yeah.
when Sean went down with the back injury, his last match was against Stone Cold at WrestleMania in 1998 when Stone Cold won the title finally. It was Triple H, it was China, whatever about China, the Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and X-Pac. That
Yes.
happened. That new formation, that new DX happened the night after Stone Cold beat Shawn Michaels for the title too on Raw. Uh, they were great all the way around. You had great in-ring talent. You had great theme music. You had the logo that was just plain and simple. D-Generation with the X right in the middle. I wore the T-shirt too. Um, doing the whole crotch chops. Everybody
Everybody.
was doing the crotch chops. People today still do the crotch chops because of DX. Legendary feuds like uh, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn had with like Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie slash Terry Funk, even before they were even included in DX, but more so after they were with DX too. Um, just the antagonistic approach that Triple H had towards guys like Vince McMahon and whatever, of just like kept poking the bear. Um, very influential group, man. And I don't think WWF would have really turned the tides against WCW if it wasn't for D-Generation X, in my opinion.
I agree. What I remember correctly, Sean and H started working together and they had all these different ideas, and a lot of their ideas actually got shot down. However, Sean, being Sean, he said, "I'm still gonna do it," and
Mm-hmm.
he continued to do it, and I think that's what helped push this faction to be what it was. Is Sean being, Vince said no, but I'm Shawn Michaels, and I'm gonna do it anyways, and it turned out it worked big time for them.
What's interesting too is both the NWO and DX have a commonality to them, and what that is the click. You had Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall.
Yep.
Those guys were thick as thieves, and then you throw in the kid, 123 Kid, aka X Pac, in the group too. They were all a tight knit community within each other, and they were known as like the guys that didn't follow the rules, got away with it, whatever they wanted to get away with, type shit. And then when they did the whole curtain call in 96, before Hall jumped over and all of a sudden he's walking down the fucking steps
Mm-hmm.
on Monday Nitro and starting the whole NWO storyline, they had the whole curtain call thing, which is where all the guys got in the ring and hugged it out after it was a house show, but they all got in the ring and hugged it out. And at the time, you didn't do shit like that because it was still kayfabe. There was still bad guy, good guy. They all got shit for it, but because Nash and Hall were leaving, you can't punish them. Shawn Michaels is your top guy right now. You really can't punish him. So who do you punish? Triple H. And it
Yep.
was that year, 97, that he was supposed to win the King of the Ring. And Vince said, fuck you. You're not winning King of
Yep.
the Ring now because of what they did. And born out of that was D-Generation X. But it's just interesting how both the NWO and DX, two very influential groups in two different companies, still had this like a connection with each other. It's pretty fascinating.
That is amazing, and I think it's hilarious that X Pac got fired and then jumped ship right away and
Yep.
joined DX.
Yep. And you know what's funny about that you mentioned that, because when X Pac got fired from WWF, or when he left WWF, he wasn't even X Pac yet. He was still 123
Mm.
Kid. And when
Yep.
he came over, he became Six Pac
Yep.
in the NWO. And then he fucking did what he did in WCW, and Bischoff was like, I need to make an example of somebody. And the same thing with WWF and Vince McMahon. You can't make an example out of Shawn Michaels, aka a Scott Hall or a Kevin Nash. So your
Right.
next best thing was Triple H, which happened to be Six Pack at the time,
Yep.
you know, X Pac. So fucking Bischoff had to fire fucking X Pac.
Yep.
And it was that night after WrestleMania where the new DX was formed with Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and Triple H in China, that fucking here comes X Pac out of like the curtain. Like, holy shit, we just saw him with the NWO, and now here
Yep.
he is with Degeneration X, you know?
Right. Yep. Yep.
Fucking amazing, dude.
It is amazing. And I think we talked about this on our theme song episode, but same with their theme song, right? It's never been changed.
Correct.
And then DX reformed in what, 2006, and the theme song stayed the same.
Yep.
And then you had the two original guys, Triple
Yep.
H and Shawn, back,
Yep.
right? And for me, that I think that run worked out amazingly too.
Yeah, it did. The only thing I would say about the reformation is Shawn Michaels was kind of goofy. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he wasn't the Shawn Michaels from '97 when he was like an asshole. He was just like
No.
a goofball comedy character. And that was the only thing I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But I will say that the one thing that WWF and Degeneration X got right that WCW and the NWO got wrong is they kept the group small. Whereas the
Yes.
NWO fucking exploded and everybody who was anybody was a part of the fucking NWO at one time.
Exactly.
DX just kept it a fucking core group of guys, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And they never got like out of control with it. I thought that was the best thing they could have done.
Yes.
NWO, once you bring in guys like the Giant to the group, and then Bischoff gets exposed as the leader, you could have just left it at that. You didn't need to like swell out. You know, you maybe could have brought in a couple guys here and there, you know, later on in the years. But that was one thing I think DX did right, is they didn't explode. They didn't bring
No.
every Johnny come lately that was in the fucking company to bring him into
Right.
the DX. But again, another short-lived faction too. DX really didn't have much of a
No.
run. They went from like 97, and then my favorite era from 98 until about maybe 99, 2000. And they
Yep.
kind of fizzled out from there, and Triple H went mega heel after that.
Yep.
But the short time that they did have, they were just as influential to their company, to WWF, as the NWO was to WCW, just in a shorter amount of time.
Yep. I think their second run was actually longer than their first run.
I think it was, yeah. I think so.
Just by a year or two.
Yep, I
That's
think you're
crazy.
right. And one of the most legendary fucking theme songs in wrestling history too.
Yep. Yep. I liked how NWO, I guess, try to do this, but DX hit different generations too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you hit the first generation in '97, and then in 2006, that's a whole new batch of watchers that they just
Yep.
hit. You
Yep,
know.
I agree. They could have done that with NWO when NWO got brought into WWF in 2002,
Yep.
but because of the fucking reaction that Hogan got against The Rock at WrestleMania, to where people wanted to see Hulk Hogan, they didn't want to see
Yep.
Hollywood Hogan. It just ruined
No.
the NWO storyline in WWF. And then
Yep.
fucking Nash gets hurt. Hall's a fucking drunk, can't stay
Yep.
sober, and it just all
Yeah.
dissolved. But
That's a
going
mess.
back to Degeneration X, man, like they're number 2 for a reason.
Yep. Yep. Strong number two, man. I
Thank
loved
you.
it.
Now you're number 2.
It's actually my number one.
Or you're number 1. Yeah, damn. You're right.
My number one. Had to go a little bit recent for this one. They're number one just because I wanted to throw something more recent on the list, and my number one is the Wyatt family.
Ooh.
Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. I had to put them as number one because of Bray Wyatt, and just just the story that he was able to tell, and it was something different when we needed something different,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just a mastermind at what he did. and
Mm-hmm.
it's unfortunate that he's not here to take credit for it, but he was one of those people that continue to innovate themselves for the better. And I really wish we got to see what he was planning next, because the Wyatt family in the beginning was pretty fucking epic.
Yeah, they were. They were, as you said, something different in a time where we needed something different. You had the
Yep.
Fireflies, the people with their phones out in the arena,
Yeah,
lighting
man.
it up. But what's interesting is it just goes to show you just how much of a professional Bray Wyatt was. Is he got his start as Husky fucking Harris, part of the Nexus group and shit. The precursor to NXT that we know now was NXT
Yep.
back then. And here's this chubby kid, with like a little bit of a beard, you know what I mean? Like kind of looking out of place. He was the
Yep.
son of IRS, um, Rotunda, but he goes away for a little bit, kind of reestablishes himself as this Bray Wyatt kind of like uh backwoods fucking swampy kind of
Yeah.
guy with his long beard
Right.
and this fucking hat, and he looked like a take on Waylon Mercy from the fucking 90s, which was what his inspiration was for his whole
No.
Bray Wyatt getup, was Waylon Mercy. But fans would chant at him, Husky Harris, you're Husky
Right.
Harris. But the pro and the guy got it so well that he transformed himself from this bland, nothing going character to this fucking sensational, over the top, but in a good way, Bray Wyatt. He's a fucking
Yes.
pro.
Yep. Yep. Just down to his entrance alone, it goes dark, the phones come out, and he comes out with this lantern, right?
Yep.
And he just slowly walks. The music is slow. His theme song was fucking sick too.
Yes, it was.
It was a damn good theme song, and it fit him perfectly. It
Yes,
fit the
it
whole
did.
family perfectly. Just
Yep.
when they first started, I think it was the I think the Shield started around the same time
Yep.
as this, and for me, they blew the Shield out of the fucking water.
I agree too. And from somebody who's been in wrestling and done it myself, I can tell you how hard it is to connect with an audience on a way that you want them to connect. And it takes a lot of balls to go out there and get in the middle of the ring and start singing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. And then all of a sudden it catches on like wildfire and the whole fucking building is singing it with you.
Yep,
That's wow. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about
I
it, dude.
know, man.
That's fucking insane. It's so hard to do, but he did it.
Man, he was truly a a legend in the business, and when his passing happened, it was a shock.
Yes,
I
it
was
was.
I was not ready for that. I was very much looking forward to what he had coming up next.
And that's when he had reinvented himself as the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, too. And he came out wearing the mask and shit, too. And he had the
Yep.
dreadlocks now in his hair. And the same thing goes with Mr. Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper, man. Rest in peace to him, too,
Rest
dude.
in peace.
He fucking Jake Huber, he fucking went way too fucking soon, too. Like,
Yep.
holy shit, dude. Like, out of nowhere, too, he fucking passes. And then shortly after him, fucking Bray passes. Like, what the fuck are we
Yep.
doing here?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but yeah, they had it to be on the list, and I put him as number one just because it was more recent and because rest in peace, Bray Wyatt.
I agree, man. Rest in peace. Good choice indeed, man. Good choice indeed. Um, Before I do my number one, do you want to give some honorable mentions and then I'll do my number one?
Yeah, let's see. So I had let's see what I didn't mention. So Team Angle
Mm-hmm.
was on mine. I thought that was pretty cool having these like legit wrestlers, these shoot wrestlers, back in college they fuck shit up, and then you have them on TV, and Angle's the fucking leader. He's teaching these young kids how to do everything. So I thought that was
Charlie
pretty
Haas and
cool.
Shelton Benjamin.
Yep,
I
yep.
wonder what Charlie Haas is doing now. I haven't heard that name in forever.
No, I think I think he's like teaching now or something. He he was like done with it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I haven't heard of him in a long time.
No, no, but yeah, I had to throw them in there.
Hell yeah. Tim Ingles is shit. Legit too.
Right.
They were legit wrestlers.
They were. They were. That's what I mean. It's like fuck. Who else did I have? Let's see. Evolution I had.
Mm-hmm.
as one. You had Batista, Triple H, Flair, Orton. I think that was a really good faction to uplift Orton and Batista. I think Orton got the most out of it. But yeah,
Agreed.
had to throw
Well,
that in there.
he got the most out of it in wrestling. I think Batista kind of went the Hollywood route, which is,
Yes.
good for him. Save your body. You know what I mean? You only got to do
Yes.
bumps if you ain't got to do bumps.
Exactly. Yep. But yeah, those were my two.
Sweet. My honorable mentions before I get my number one are I had the Ministry of Darkness on there, which we touched on earlier. I
Yeah.
also had the Fabulous Freebirds on there
Okay.
too, because of they were the first trio to come up with the whole Freebird rule, which meant that any two of guys out of the three of them could wrestle a tag team match. And they were tag team champions, and they went to different promotions too: WCW,
Yeah.
AWA, World Class. They had a legendary run with the Von Erichs down in World Class Championship Wrestling, and they're still talked about to this day. And Michael Hayes still works backstage for WWE in a producer's role, and he's still as smart as he's ever been.
Yep.
So they were on there. I also had the Corporation on there too from WWF with Vince McMahon, Kane, and that whole shebang.
Yep.
I had them on there as well, but I also had the Nation of Domination on there too. And the only reason why I threw them on there is because it got somebody like The Rock over, who
Yeah.
was struggling at the time. Everybody was chanting "Die Rocky Die,"
Yep.
Rocky Maivia. Nobody gave a fuck about a Rocky Maivia, but when he became The
No.
Rock, people took
Yep.
notice.
Yep.
So those were my honorable mentions. I could have had more on there, but just to kind of
Right.
throw something on the list. But my number one on my list is a group that is very influential when we're talking about factions. A group that, if it wasn't for these guys, I don't think we would have factions like the NWO, factions like Degeneration X. I really don't. And I'm talking about the original Four Horsemen in
Yep.
WCW. Arn
Yep.
Anderson, Ole Anderson, Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, with the manager J.J. Dillon. They were impeccable. They were very distinguished. They were very ahead of their time. And when they were front and center in the storylines with guys like Dusty Rhodes and the names goes on and on,
Yep.
uh, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, man, those guys had fucking legendary matches. You throw Sting in the mix too. Um, they were very dastardly, but they dressed the part, right? Like Main Event
Right.
Mafia did, right? They
Yeah.
dressed the suits, they had the Rolexes, they had the cars, they had the glasses. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They were so good at being bad that you didn't just hate them, but you loathe them. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you truly hated these guys. And then
Yes.
fast forward to the late 90s when the formation of the Four Horsemen was redone, and you had Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Chris Benoit, and Dean Malenko. I mean, that group itself, that incarnation of Four
Yeah.
Horsemen was fucking amazing. But from the time the Horsemen stepped on the scene in World Championship Wrestling in 1985, Jim Crockett Promotions, they were the best at what they did, and they were like truly one of the first factions to ever elevate what a faction could be and what a faction
Right.
should be. And they were so good at being bad that they were actually fucking really vilified, dude. And
Right.
it wasn't as hard to do back then as it is now, because everybody knows wrestling is wrestling, what it is. But back then, it took a special kind of heel to get that true fucking heat that people wanted to stab you. They would follow these guys out to their cars and try to beat them up and stab them. Fucking their cars got fucking set on fire in the backstage of some of these arenas, man. Like that's how good they were.
It's crazy. I think I think they were so good too because each one of them individually had something going on. Like they were somebody. It
Yep,
wasn't just like the main guy and then three other guys. No, everybody actually had their own personality and they were
yep.
their own, you know, person. I think that's why it worked so well too.
Absolutely. And then you had Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard as a tag team. And then they branch out to go to WWF for a short run as a Brainbusters and fucking killed it over there. Came back to WCW. And then you had Arn Anderson kind of like chase for the television title. You had Tully Blanchard in the feuds that he had too. And then you had Ric Flair in the main event scene for the longest time too. But when those guys were together, when they were the Four Horsemen, it
Yeah.
was it was something, man. It was very special, and it saved Jim Crockett Promotions and WCW at a time when WWF was kicking their ass. We talked about how the NWO was kicking WWF's ass. Well,
Mm-hmm.
at this time in the mid to late 80s, WWF is doing a pretty damn good job of kicking their ass. You
Right.
know, WrestleMania is still a fresh new thing. The whole rock and wrestling connection thing that WWF was doing. People looked at WCW and Jim Crockett Promotions as it being like a more southern thing. You know, it was just like all them southern boys down there doing that wrestling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas WWF was like the mainstream. This is where all the
Right.
celebrities and all the rock stars are. But when you flipped on to WTBS on WCW Saturday night, 6:05 Eastern, every fucking Saturday, and you got Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, Tully Blanchard out there with JJ Dillon, and you got Ric Flair cutting them legendary promos. You got them in the ring. Not only can they talk it, but they can walk it too.
Right.
And they were so good. They were mat technicians when they got in that ring, man. It was the first group, the first faction I really think that made factions cool. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't
Yeah.
have an NWO or a DX.
No. No.
We wouldn't have an
Nope.
Evolution.
No. You would. No, you would not. That's a strong. I had a feeling that was going to be your number one. Actually.
They're number one because the NWO is not on my list.
Exactly.
If the NWO was on my
Yeah.
list, Four Horsemen would have been number two.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. And for those of you that didn't watch the theme song episode, talked a lot about their theme song in WCW, and that was one of my picks because their theme song was pretty sweet.
Fuck yeah, it was. It was like a classic rock fucking mesh up with like some fucking horses running stampeding through the
Yeah,
fucking
man.
field, dude. It's badass. I
It
love
was
that
fucking
song.
badass. Great number one, dude.
Thank you.
Great
Yeah,
fucking
we
pick.
both had like very like different lists, but very respectable lists, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it went well, man. I like these top fives and stuff because it really allows us to go out of the box and to think of something new and different because everyone's gonna know DX, everyone's gonna know, you know, all these factions. So when you actually kind of sit down and research some, you're like, that one's fucking cool.
Right. It's different.
Yep.
Like when you picked the Wyatt family, I think the Wyatt family was the biggest shocker for me on your list was the Wyatt
Yeah.
family, just because I wouldn't expect something like that to be on a top five, like of all the factions that have been out there for the Wyatts to be on there. But I commend that pick. That's a really good pick.
Yeah.
What about you? What's one of the picks that I had that really stood out? Like, huh, really?
I don't think any one of them stood out. I think the placement of some. I
Mm,
thought the Heart Foundation was definitely going to be a top two for
mm-hmm.
for you. And then honestly, I didn't think you would have main event Mafia
Really?
because yeah, I thought you would have picked something a little bit different, maybe something a little bit more old, something a little bit more known.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one shocked me.
Okay. If you were to say that, then if I didn't pick Main Event Mafia, what do you think I would have picked if it wasn't for Main Event Mafia? If you could think of a faction.
Ooh, man, maybe like shit. That's a good fucking question because I
'Cause
knew you're gonna do the Heart Foundation for sure, and I knew you were gonna do Four Horsemen. So I thought you were gonna pick something a little bit more along that era.
I could have done the Varsity Club with fucking Rick Steiner, Kevin
Oh
Sullivan,
yeah,
fucking Rotunda, but they weren't. They were kind of like thrown together more than they were
yeah,
influential. My list, the way I wanted to look at it was, it was at the times that those factions came up, they were important. You
yeah,
know what I mean? For those times. And then my
yeah.
ranking on like 1 to 5 was how much of an impact did they actually have while
Right,
they were there, and what was the purpose of why that faction was there.
that
And
makes
each one of
sense.
those picks were like in a time when the company needed something, needed a shot in the
Hmm.
arm. And
Yeah,
it kind of made sense of, okay, now we got to put this faction together, and all these
right.
guys make sense. The Main Event Mafia, they were all main eventers, they were all world champions.
Yeah,
Four Horsemen speaks for themselves. DX speaks for themselves. But that was kind of my thinking when I was going through the whole process of it.
yeah. That that totally may make sense. I kind of wanted to touch on different promotions too.
I like
Um,
that.
yeah, I kind of want to throw some like fucking Lucha Underground. No one's gonna remember that.
Right.
Like I want to do something different, and I think we both pretty much came out swinging. That was a good one.
Hell yeah, dude. You know, it would be a good obscure episode too that I think a lot of people will get talking about is if we did like our top 5 favorite wrestlers or personalities from ECW.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
like ECW is still like an underground topic to where they have a cult following, you
right.
know, and a lot of people want to hear about ECW. So I think
Yeah.
ECW episode would be a good one if we can do like our top 5, maybe like maybe the top 5 most influential matches, top 5,
Mhm.
you know, wrestlers of ECW, or just some type of top 5.
Right.
Most important pay-per-views maybe or some shit. But
Yeah,
an ECW episode has definitely got to be down the pipeline, dude. That'd be fun to do.
that would be. Let's do it. I'm
Fuck yeah,
down.
brother. Well, anything else you want to add to this episode, man?
No, man. I think we had a great list. It was a great time, and these top fives I'm really enjoying, and I hope you all enjoy it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys are enjoying it, once again, please comment on this YouTube channel. If you're watching us on Spotify, comment and let us know. You know, how did our list do? Was our list close to yours? What would you change? What's your list look like? Hit that comment section and let us know. Please follow us on X and Instagram at Riffs and Rasslin. Can't miss us. Please, if you see any of our shorts on YouTube, go over to the main page and take a listen to our show. Maybe you'll learn something new or have a chuckle or, you know, stick around and, you know, enjoy the conversation. But let us know you're there. Let us know that you're enjoying what we're doing over here. And we appreciate it if you do that. Um, we got all kinds of content posting up on YouTube right now and Spotify. We got more coming down the works. We got a Megadeth episode coming up here shortly with the 90s era of Megadeth. We got another wrestling episode coming down the pipeline later on too. We got a lot of things cooking over here at Riffs and Rasslin with Willie and myself. So we appreciate you all you guys tuning in and sticking around for the conversation. And yeah, until next time, guys, stay heavy.
Peace out, guys.